Hello, 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 friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we have lots to talk about today. Specifically from the title of this video, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because as we are seeing our world crumble apart in so many different ways, we are seeing it crumble apart fiscally, socially, in every single way that you can possibly imagine. And with the latest arrest of Maduro and all the things that's happening in Gaza, and all the things that's happening with the I Group Israel and in Iran and Russia and all these just different places, I thought it was very important for us to have a conversation about end times, the end of the world. Now, I'm going to be specifically talking globally here, and then I will also narrow in on the United States. So we all know as believers that there's going to be an end of the world. There's going to be an end of everything. And I know that we are definitely approaching the very end of all things. I mean, the Bible speaks of there will be wars and rumors of wars, and it also talks a lot about wars and what's happening right now, or we're actually seeing that. I mean, it seems like we are in so many different conflicts left and right, and that wasn't promised to us originally. That was not the promise to us originally. We were promised MAGA, Make America Great Again, America First, no wars, all the things. But it's looking like it's the total opposite. So I don't know what is going on here, but I do know that the end of the world and end of all things is happening. So I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about, and good morning to everyone hopping on. It's morning here where I am. It's like late morning. If you're, I don't know where everybody is, but good morning. So anyway, so I wanted to talk, and I actually have this presentation that I'm going to pull up, and it's actually a great visual to show. And I'm going to kind of go way back, okay? So in this instance, there was a prophecy, okay? And we all know in Daniel, the King Nebuchadnezzar, which we also know as being Iraq. I want to make sure that I say that right. Iraq, yes, as we know it today. So Babylon was ruling the known world then, many years ago, thousands of years ago, okay? So I'm going to hop up this presentation on the screen so that we can all see this. Add to stage, okay. The end of the world, biblical prophecy, and I'm going to come here, okay? So I think that this is actually a really good visual, okay? So the book of Daniel talks about the captivity, all right? It brings us in the captivity, Israel, Judah, all the things. So I don't want to get into too many details, but I wanted to break down the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. And I wanted to pull up this chart, which I think is a great visual. So as you see on this side right here, the left side, there is a little image. It's what we call the metallic man, okay? And then we have these symbols of beast, and then we have some more symbols here, okay? This is a man's heart, okay? All right, so these all go together. They're not separate. They all go together, and some parts of it kind of expounds more. So I'm going to read to us. I'm going to read out loud to us Daniel chapter 2. So like I said, the Judah gets captive. The tribe of Judah gets captivated by Babylon, which we know is modern day Iraq today. Okay, and there's a big story behind that I won't go into detail, but they were actually really bad. Okay, Israel was really bad. That's hard to believe, considering that there's a lot of Christians who think they're God's chosen people. Okay, but they were actually really bad, and God got fed up and said, you know what? Somebody else we're gonna have someone else rule over you because you're not doing right in modern day language. Okay, so Daniel is with King Nebuchadnezzar at this time. Nebuchadnezzar has this dream. It's this grand dream, right? And he's like, gets up, he's like, I can't remember this dream, but it made a big impact on me. What is it all about? So he gathers all of these soothsayers, these magicians, these people that, dabble into witchcraft and, like to do all of this hocus pocus kind of stuff. Okay. He's like, I had this extravagant dream. I want to know what it is. They're like, well, tell us what it is. He's like, I can't tell you what it is. Okay. He's like, well, you're buying time. You need to tell me. You're paid to know all of this stuff. You're supposed to know all the things, right? All these spiritual what realm things. You're supposed to know this if you can tell me the dream. So he gets really mad because this dream, it makes a big impact on him, a really big impact. He's like, I'm going to unlive all of you. I'm going to live on all of you if you don't tell me the dream. So they go to Daniel, and Daniel prays to God. Okay. God reveals it because obviously the line of Judah is where Jesus came through. Tribe of Judah, as you know, okay? That is the kingly side. Christ is king, okay? So we had to protect that. So obviously, so anyway, so Daniel gets the dream from God, the interpretation, all the details, okay? So we are going to pick up, and then I'm going to explain this here to you, okay? I'm not going to explain so much this portion about the animal portion, but I am going to explain the image here. Okay, but like I said, this all goes together. And I will do multiple parts of this. As you can see, this is Biblical Prophecy part 1. Okay. All right, so we're going to read in Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 27. Let's start verse 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days, meaning later on. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. So he's getting ready to tell him, okay? God revealed this. No one else can tell you. If you forget a dream and no one knows, you don't even know, and you want people to tell you, and people can't tell you, only God knows these things. So this is miraculous in itself. So this was meant to be known, all right? As for thee, O king, verse 29, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, meaning when he was sleeping, what should come to pass hereafter? And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living. Meaning, like, this wasn't revealed to me because, you know, I'm like supernatural. I'm better than other men or living beings. He says, no, that's not the reason. But for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. Okay, this is this image that he saw right here. All right, so that what we call the metallic man, that's what he saw. This great image, very, very, very large image. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible, meaning it was extremely great. Okay, so Old English terrible, we think of like something scary, but it could have been scary. But it's meaning like something very grand, very big, very large. I mean, terrible, like wow. Okay, like awesome in a way. This image's head was fine gold. Okay, so we know the top portion here is fine gold. So let me take myself out because we don't really need to see me. All right, so right here, this is what he saw. Okay, this whole image right here. And the head of gold. Okay. This image head was of fine gold. His breast and his arms were of silver, which is inferior to gold, as we know. His belly and his thighs of brass. His legs of iron. His feet, part of iron and part of clay, as we know, doesn't really hold together. Okay, and that's where we are right now in history. So think of this gold, this image here, this metallic man as being like a calendar. It is a biblical calendar. All right. So at this time, we know God really wasn't dealing with too many Gentiles unless they were proselytes at this time. So this is in relation to Israel, right? Who is ruling the known world, which also includes Israel at this time. Okay. So this is a visual calendar. Like we have our calendars, you know, that say January 1st was Thursday, and then it goes all the way through the 31st. Okay. So this here, they didn't have calendars like that. They went through the new moon, and then this calendar was a visual, right? Okay. Thou sawest. Okay. This is the part that's very, very good. We need to know. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands. Okay. Which smote the image upon his feet that were iron and clay and break them to pieces. All right. So he saw until like this stone came and just broke the whole entire image, just broke it into pieces. Okay. Broke it into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broke into pieces together and became like chaff. All right. So we know chaff is like this loose substance of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. So I'm going to read verse 37. Thou, O king, art the king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thy hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Okay. So we know that Nebuchadnezzar is actually the head of gold. So he is the first on here. He is the first of this biblical, prophetic, metallic man calendar. Okay. All right. And then it goes on, it proceeds to go further. All right. And it talks about it. So Nebuchadnezzar, he ruled for a very, very long time. I have some other information on how long he had reigned. He reigned, his son reigned, and his grandson reigned, Belshazzar. Okay. So Belshazzar in chapter 5 of Daniel, this is the reason why this is right here, the man's heart, because he wasn't like his grandfather Nebuchadnezzar. Belshazzar was not like his grandfather Nebuchadnezzar at all. So think of like, first generation immigrants. This is an example. First generation immigrants, they're always hard workers. They're here, they're successful, they work really hard, they get on the ball. By the time like the third and fourth of the immigrants that came here, they're useless. Okay. They're just like any other person. Okay. But the people that came as immigrants, they worked really hard. So think of it like that. Belshazzar, he was this warrior, the first generation, a warrior, strong man. Then he has his son. And then by the time his grandson's here, his grandson's partying. He's like, I'm the king. Nothing's going to affect me. I'm going to party. And he had a man's heart. That's the reason for this here. And the Bible actually speaks of it and calls it a man's heart, meaning very just unserious, very unserious. Okay. So as we know, this prophetic calendar, head of gold is Babylon. Okay. The next one is inferior, which is silver. Okay. Silver is always inferior. I'm only going to touch down on this very, very briefly. Okay. So the next one, the silver, is the Medes and Persians, which we also know as modern day Iran. Okay. I'm not going to talk too much about them today, but the reason that I wanted to bring this on and to talk about this is that we are currently seeing, Nebuchadnezzar obviously was thousands of years ago, but we're actually seeing the prophecy when eventually that stone that Daniel had mentioned to the king, when it was carved out and it crashed all of these rulers, these man rulers, these kingdoms that were emperors and ruling the world, this big rock, okay, smashes all of those kingdoms into pieces. These metals go everywhere. They're every single place, right? And then this stone becomes a great mountain. And that's when God's kingdom comes and he rules over all. Okay. We are so close to this, friends. So very close. And I'm going to touch more on this very soon. We're going to keep this in the forefront of our memory as we keep looking at the news every single day. And there's war after war and this conflict and different things happening. But just remember, just because we're the United States doesn't mean we're going to escape anything. And also, just because we're the United States doesn't mean that nothing bad's going to happen, and doesn't mean that we're going to be around that long. Okay. So the rest of the world may continue, but the United States may not be here. Okay. So just remember that the United States may not be here, especially with our politicians getting us into foreign affairs and things that we shouldn't be getting involved with. Okay, the United States may be gone And these other countries may still be going and waiting for the rest of things to happen, time to pass, and then eventually that stone, which we know, comes and crashes these kingdoms, and God sets up his kingdom. And then all of this nonsense that we are experiencing here, high taxation, sickness, sorrow, wars, and all the terrible things that's happening to humanity and things in this life, when God comes and crashes these kingdoms, these men ruling over people, men and women ruling over people, once that happens, all of that will be gone. But I wanted to talk about that, okay? And so I probably should bring up to you about, let me pull this up again. I probably should bring, just so that we know. Okay, so God gives visions and dreams to people to reveal things, okay? So he gave Nebuchadnezzar the dream in metals, okay? So for non-religious people and for kings and rulers, they think that they are the cat's meow. They think they're it, okay? So God reveals all of these kingdoms and rulers to him as these sparkly metals. But God gives the same dream and vision to Daniel, but instead he reveals them as animal-like, as beasts, because that's really what governments are. They're very beast-like. And even in the book of Revelation, it refers to the beast system, and that's actually a government system. So God looks at these governments ruling as beasts because that's actually what they're acting like. They're acting very beastly, okay, by going to war and harming people and just committing atrocities and doing terrible things to people, okay? God considers that beast-like activity, where humans be like, oh, this is glorious, this is my kingdom. So that's the reason why he revealed it to Nebuchadnezzar and these beautiful sparkly metals, okay? So I do want to proceed to say to you that when we read further in Daniel chapter 7 and chapter 8, it's going to be animals. They're going to be beasts. So the head of gold that Nebuchadnezzar seen was himself, and the beast that Daniel seen later, okay, later in chapter 7, in verse 1, it says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. So remember, Belshazzar is Nebuchadnezzar's grandson. So this is at the very, very, very end of the Babylonian reigning, okay, over the known world. Okay, so Daniel has a vision, these dreams, and he's actually going to see these animals. And Daniel spake and said, I saw my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from another, meaning very different from each other, okay? So as you can see, there's like this ocean right here. That is the Mediterranean Sea, which means like the middle of the earth. That's where all known civilization was during that time, okay? All known civilization was kind of around there. That's why a lot of places and a lot of people like living by the water, because, you know, there weren't modern amenities, so people came, all right? So the middle of earth, so like he sees this great wind and these beasts coming out of the water, okay? And they're coming out and they're very great out of the sea, which is the middle of the earth, which just happens to be the Mediterranean. And the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And I beheld the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given it. Okay, so this here, this lion is actually the head of gold. It's still Babylon because it's still reigning at this time. Babylon is at the very end of their reigning, but the head of gold and the lion are the same. Okay, they are the very same. And like I had mentioned, just remember this, Daniel had seen this as beast animals. Okay, so all of these things represent something. Okay, they're just not plopped in the Bible for whatever reason, just for fun. It actually means something. So these are symbols. So think of lion, it's kingly, strong. So the first one's like very powerful and king-like, okay? So you got a lion and it has these wings, all right? And then the wings are plucked off, okay? They're taken away, meaning that their strength and power is gone. And a man's heart was given to it, Okay, very unserious, like how Belshazzar was. Okay, so I just wanted to preface this and put this in the forefront of your mind that chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar sees a dream and he sees these metals. Okay, and then Daniel sees the same thing, but except he sees it in beast-like, and there's more symbols to it, and it's also showing the fall. That is another thing. It shows the fall of each of these government systems, these beast systems, these governments, these rulers. Okay, so I'm going to go through this till we get to the very toes, which we are right here in 2026. We are at the toes. Things are happening, friends. Things are happening. And I wanted to share that with you. We will keep touching base on that, on this topic, and keep sharing. I have another video that I'm going to be posting later today. I may do another live stream, but I wanted to hop on this because this is so important for us to know. And that is another reason why I'm always prefacing and speaking to you all that we're at the very end, and that you need to believe the truth and read the Bible. And the Bible does not speak of a secret rapture or rapture. Some people say secret rapture. Some people say a rapture. There is absolutely no rapture. Okay, none at all. All of these things that are happening, us as Christians are going to experience it. And don't think I forgot about the book of Revelation and continuing talking about that. There's so much to cover in so little time. So I wanted to say that to you all. And we will keep covering this more and more, this topic, because it's very important, and that we need to be prepared and ready for what's to come. We need to be prepared spiritually, because there's no secret rapture. When war hits here, that's it. That's it. You got to be prepared. And when all the calamities and things that leads up to war, because war is terrible. People don't realize how terrible war is. We've never really experienced so much of it on our ground. We've always gone to other people's land and done it. But it's coming here to America. And there's going to be rationing of food. Think about it. It's happened before. They were rationing sugar and different things. People, if you got caught with too much sugar, you would be in big trouble. Okay, there was days where you couldn't get gas. There were certain days, if you had a certain number, you had to get gas one day, and another person with another number had to get a gas the other day. And if they ran out of gas, oh well, too bad for you. Okay, so that is one thing that I wanted to bring on to our attention here, because it is so important for us to know these things. And actually, let me pull that up for us, because let me see, gas rationing. Let me see. Gas rationing. And it's actually happened. All right, let me pull this up here. Let's see. Okay, so let me pull this up for us. Let me exit out of here. And pull this up for us. Hopefully you can see it. All right, so I'm going to play this for us.
Germany's submarine warfare having recently intensified against America, American shipping losses have mounted rapidly. That's why millions of car owners in the States are queuing up for petrol. It's no longer a case of stepping on the gas. Now they're standing around waiting for it. A and B ration cards give a rate of from 3 to 8 gallons a week. An X card, allowing all the petrol required, is only for those who can prove their work makes it essential. In Washington, the rationing administrator is a Mr. O'Leary. He's got the whole thing taped.
Okay, it's an A card, 3 gallons. A plan has been devised under which all motorists will get as much gasoline as they really need.
The need for petrol is greatest, naturally, where the services are concerned. A second front will use quite a lot. General Sir Alan Brooke, Chief of the Imperial General Staff, has paid a flight.
Okay. So you can see that there. Okay. There was actually gas rationing, and then I know some people who actually experienced that. So it's not like it's some abstract, pretend, imagination thing that happened. That's actually really happened. And that is the reason why I'm always saying we need to be anti-war. We need to be anti-war. We need to hold these politicians accountable. Actually, there's actually been some talk lately about impeaching some of them, actually impeaching all of them, getting rid of the office of the presidency, just having a governor, okay, with very limited power, okay, and just getting rid of the whole office of the presidency, because they're really just not doing anything for us anyway. They're not. They're just making things worse and making it so difficult for Americans to live. I was actually working the other day, and I was talking to someone, one of the people in the location that I was in, and because I travel for work, and I was asking him how he was doing. He says, I wish that I could find a job in the field that I want to be in. I want to be an electrician. He says, I don't know how people are living around here. I don't know how people are surviving. He says, I just want to make $20 an hour. And it made me feel so bad and so sad, because politicians are living high off of our taxes, and people are suffering, not able to get jobs, and just wanting to make $20 an hour. Okay. Is that too much to ask for? Okay. So I know that's a lot there, friends, but it all correlates. It all goes together. We are at the very end of our empire. We're at the end of the world. Things are happening. Bad things are happening when we get into war. So I want to hop on here. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video. We will be talking more about the end of the world and biblical prophecy. It's very important. It's imperative for us to know. And I will see you all in the next video. I am going to be discussing the 2026 Florida gubernatorial elections and who's running, and talk about a certain candidate that I have reached out to. So stay tuned for that video. See you very soon. In the meantime, subscribe, and thank you very much for being here. See you soon.